Trust your nervous system. Trust your intuition. Trust your gut. Trust your senses. Stop gaslighting yourself. Because sometimes telling yourself, oh, I need to calm down. Oh, I need to meditate. Yes, those things can help. But if you want to stop ending up in the same situation over and over and over again, where people are always messing over you, where you're always having to take a L, where you're always having to be the bigger person, where you're always having to hand out your resources, where you're always having to be there for somebody else, where your needs are never being met, let go of the idea of always needing to calm down. Today, you're going to learn why calming your nervous system isn't really solving the problem and what your body is really trying to tell you. I've spent a lot of time not just trying to regulate my nervous system, but actually trying to understand what's going on. And what I've noticed is that the advice of calming down your nervous system wasn't actually changing the pattern. And so I knew I had to go deeper than just regulation. You've probably been trying to calm down your nervous system, and it works for a bit, and then you end up right back where you started. You've been taught that your nervous system is something that you need to calm, something that you need to regulate, something that you need to control. But your nervous system isn't the problem. It's actually responding correctly, just not always to what's actually happening right now. You're not reacting to the moment, you're reacting to the patterns your body has already learned. And this is where people get stuck. They keep trying to calm something that they don't really understand. What I'm about to teach you in this series is exactly what vampiric systems and people don't want you. I want you to listen to me very closely when I say this. You're not crazy. You're picking up on patterns. Your nervous system is not just something that you need to calm down all the time. It's a system that can be used to your benefit. Catch that one. Could be used to your benefit, not something that you have to babysit all the time. And most people will never get to that level because they only been taught how to cope. You've been taught to treat your nervous system as something that's broken, something that needs to be constantly regulated, constantly controlled, constantly calmed down and breathe away. But your nervous system is actually responding to what it has learned. In my nervous system guide, I explain this. This isn't about fixing your nervous system. It's about understanding it. So on pages 7 through 17, I break it down further. But in this video, I'm going to give you a quick screenshot. But if you want the full breakdown of everything that I'm going to mention in this 5-part series, definitely go and get you a copy of my nervous system guide. It's going to go into way more depth. So your nervous system isn't the problem. And this might be a very new thing that you might be hearing, because when you go online and you see a lot of content, it's a lot of, it can be shifted into a lot of self-blame of you aren't regulating correctly, you aren't breathing correctly, you aren't meditating correctly. You keep getting triggered. Why does this keep happening? Why do I keep ending up in the same situations over and over again? Why do I keep attracting the same relationships? Why does this person get on my nerves so much, even though they haven't really done anything? If you want to stop these patterns from constantly happening over and over and over and over again, ending up in the same situations, you have to look at the root cause. And so in the first few chapters of the guide, I break down what the nervous system is and its function and how that looks like in today's age. And one thing that was really impactful for me in my journey was realizing that my nervous system was never wrong. So often told, oh, your nervous system is reacting, it's this, it's that. It was actually responding correctly to the situations given. And that was something that I really had to sit with, because in the self-help community, it can be a lot of self-blame, can be a lot of toxic positivity. It can be a lot of, it can trigger those same wounds of not enoughness, where I'm not being regulated enough, I'm not being calm enough. And so I had to realize that through all the situations that I had been through in life, my nervous system was never wrong and it was never the problem. And so I'm going to give you a quick hack on how to figure out, are you being crazy or if you're not. The easiest way to realize if you're being crazy is if think of a very healthy person. Think of one of the most healthiest people you've been around. How would they have responded to that situation if they would have reacted the same way? So let's say for example, you're at work and a client customer comes in. They're very rude, and they decide to start drama and start mess and want to bring up a fight. Obviously, you're gonna get triggered because here this person is coming in, they're yelling, they're cursing at you, all of this, all of that, trying to start drama. And even a secure person, even an emotionally stable person, would feel very uncomfortable and will most likely move into fight or flight themselves. Because if somebody's getting aggressive with you, you have to move in order to protect yourself. And so sometimes in the self-help community, it can be this over glamification of being perfect. It's another way to try to be perfect. And another thing that was very important in my journey was realizing that the nervous system is millions of years old. And Mother Nature, whoever you believe in, has installed this programming into us to keep us safe. And I'm not going to go over the basics of what a nervous system is. I have all of that in the guide. And most of us probably learned this in science class when we were like in middle school, right? So I'm not going to go over the very basics of what a nervous system is. I have that in the guide, and a lot of us already kind of know what that is. But it is millions of years old. It protects us. Its main function is to take the outside world, compute it very quickly, and give a reaction and that's its job. So it is connected to our nervous system, our neurons, our nerves, feelings, touch, our senses. And one thing that I had to realize is that this is millions of years old. It is more than like not going to misfire. Mother Nature has been perfecting this system for millions of years in different speeds. So why would it be broken in you? Why wouldn't it work in you? If it has kept millions of species alive all of these millions of years, why would it be broken in you? Why would it not be working in you? And so that didn't make a lot of sense to me. And so once I let that belief go, that my nervous system was wrong, that it was something to control. And so when I started asking myself, what would healthy people do? Would they have reacted the same way that I would have? And if the answer is yes, more than likely it wasn't wrong. When I'm talking about nervous system work, I'm not talking about the people who are at crazy, they're trying to run over people or doing illegal things. I'm not talking about those people. Obviously, they need help, professional help, a lot more than what a video online can give them. But when I'm talking about the everyday person, more than likely, your nervous system is not wrong. Sometimes we can have some situations because technology and civilization is very new. And our nervous system can treat these things like a threat. So, for example, if your boss sends you an email or a message, can we meet right now? Sometimes you're going to think that, did I do something bad? Like, what happened? Did I miss something? What went on? Oh my God, what's going on? Did I do something? Let me go back and look through the emails. Did I miss something? Was there a deadline? Was there this? Was there that? Our nervous system can sometimes register things like that as a threat as well. And that's going to be due to many different reasons, and it can get more personal. So I'm not going to deep dive into every little bit and piece. But the main concept that I want you to get from point one is that more than likely, your nervous system is not wrong. And for the people who their nervous system is wrong, more than likely, they have issues where they need to go and seek medical and professional help. But for everyday folks, more than likely your nervous system was not responding incorrectly. Now it might be responding to modern day issues as if you're getting chased by a lion, like the example that I gave of your boss sending you an email, right? And your nervous system thinks, oh my God, the world is ending. We can definitely have those moments, but for the most part, I really want you to take away. And especially if you're driven, you're self aware, you're resourceful, right? I often say the terms high functioning. You'll hear that in a lot of my videos, is the term, because that is what I choose to describe uh, people who are like myself, right? We do a lot. We have a very high capacity for intelligence and understanding and compassion and are well-rounded people. So more than likely, our nervous systems are probably not wrong and are functioning as Mother Nature designed. So that's the key takeaway that I want you to get from point one, is to really remove a lot of that self-blame and to remove the idea that your nervous system is always wrong and something that needs dysfunction. But we're going to discuss in some further points of what to do with the info that your nervous system is giving you so that you can stop being triggered all the time and actually start solving the root problem. You're not just responding to the moment, but you're responding to the pattern. You're not just reacting to what's happening right now, but you're reacting to what your body has learned over time. So when you're feeling something intense, it's not just random, but it's familiar. And so I want to use, well, the sun is kind of getting in my face, but I want to use an example of friendships. And I was watching a video, and this person was getting very upset. Their emotions was very high. You can tell that they were triggered. And in the video, they were, yelling that and very upset that why do they keep attracting people who keep betraying every time they get somebody around. A few months later, they have to end the friendship. So they were going on kind of a heavy rant, but you can tell that they were very triggered and dysregulated. What they were feeling in that moment was so intense in the video because it is something that their nervous system has been feeling for a long time. It's something that it's been triggering and pushing up for a long time. And those experiences keep compounding and keep compounding and keep compounding. And so when we start to have those really intense moments in life, kind of like the video, I think we've all pretty much been there in some aspects of life. We're just like, why does this get? And that's the clearest sign you can ever get from the universe. Having those super intense breakdown moments is one of the clearest signs you can ever get, because your nervous system is trying to tell you, hey, this is very familiar. And because it's familiar, that's why those feelings keep stacking. It's just not this one person who betrayed you. It now has become your family, other friends, acquaintances. It seems like you can never catch a break. And it's because that there's a pattern underneath that's why calming down doesn't always work. This is where most advice stops. Go regulate, go breathe, go think of happy bunnies. Right? That's typically where most of the advice stops. And a lot of people like us, when we're on our healing journeys, we can sometimes hit a wall. We're like, okay, I've done all the things. So why aren't I feeling different? Why do these things keep happening? Why do I keep ending up in the same situation? And it's because most content tends to stop there. It's just that calm down. Then a lot of times if you tell us to calm down, we get more upset. So it just, one thing I've truly had to learn, and has been the most impactful thing I've ever done to speed up my healing journey, is to let emotions be, to not try to calm down, to not try to suppress things. Because a lot of us, and especially the people who I resonate with and who are attracted to me, are people who have always had to be the bigger person. These are the people who forgave. These are the people who would stay calm under pressure. These are the people who will always look perfect on the outside. And when you're constantly putting on this face and this mask of trying to be calm, of trying to keep everything together, of trying to be strong, of trying to get through the day. So telling someone who operates from that headspace already just to calm down, just to smooth over it, they're already doing that. You're more than likely already doing that. You more than likely already have, bit your tongue to save relationships. You've taken the high road. You let people, you try to make things work. You try to go through the extra mile. So when you're telling people to calm down, these are people who have mastered. You're 9 times out of 10 a person who have mastered being calm under pressure. So telling me to be calm, it doesn't really work. So let me know in the chat, in the comments, if you kind of resonate with this, of being that person who's already calm under extreme amount of pressure. So telling me to be calm is ineffective. What I actually need to do is to allow those emotions and to trust myself. And you need to trust yourself too. So trust yourself, trust your nervous system, trust your intuition, trust your gut, trust your senses. Stop gaslighting yourself. Because sometimes telling yourself, oh, I need to calm down, oh, I need to meditate. Yes, those things can help. But if you want to stop ending up in the same situation over and over and over again, where people are always messing over you, where you're always having to take a L, where you're always having to be the bigger person, where you're always having to hand out your resources, where you're always having to be there for somebody else, where your needs are never being met, let go of the idea of always needing to calm down. Sometimes the best thing you can do is self-trust. Trust that you're not crazy all the time. Trust that what you're seeing is correct. Because if you're self-aware, if you're capable, if you're already on the internet watching a bunch of videos to try to understand yourself, to try to be a better person, more than likely, you weren't the problem, and neither was your nervous system. Your way out is through your triggers, because your triggers aren't just random, they're data. And if you keep trying to override them, you're gonna miss the information that you actually need. Sometimes what your body is picking up on is more insidious than what's on the surface. And so sometimes when we hear, oh, we're triggered, I'm triggered, I'm this and that, that is data to be used. Your nervous system is a system. It is a system that collects data. It is a system that inputs, outputs. All right, in the guide, I talk about the 3 steps that the nervous system goes through: input, process, output. All right? The nervous system is taking in things from your senses, processing them, and pushing out a quick reaction. In the nervous system guide, on pages 37 through 44, I have it outlined the different levels and signs of where your body is activating, what things to look for. Because if you can start picking up on those micro activations, then you can kind of start to get ahead of your trigger and stop yourself before you kind of start spiraling and going crazy. All right, so when you start noticing, like I said, my jaw tightens. My mom, she used to be one of those people where she would bounce her leg. You get a little bit aware of hypervigilance, looking around you. You notice that, you start listening in a bit more intently, a bit more, with a bit more intention to what people are saying, because your ears are gonna, like a dog, when they hear something, their ears go up and they're like, what's going on? Sometimes we get like that too. And so when you start catching those triggers, write them down, journal them, do voice notes if you can. Really catch the rawness of what's going on. How are you feeling? What is the situation? And just lay it out. You don't have to analyze it yet, but just lay it out. Journal about what's going on, how you're feeling, what signs are going on with your body. Just write those down, put them in a journal, keep them, because you're gonna review them later on. And so let's go back to the example of the person who was upset that they kept meeting people who would betray them. So obviously they kept getting triggered because they kept experiencing people who would abandon them. And so when you look at all the things that they were saying, and you look at the bare bones underneath in this situation, what's being very triggering for them is being abandoned. It's not having bare needs, reciprocity. It might be a sense of it might be I'm not good enough. But the main thing that we're kind of seeing is abandonment. Why do I keep being abandoned? Why do I see being betrayed? Why? What's so wrong with me? Am I bad? Am I such a am I so unlovable that people just play with me just for the fun of it? They just play my feelings and emotions for the fun of it, right? And so that's really what's going on underneath. And I'm gonna make a video on negative thoughts, subconscious thoughts, limiting beliefs, and kind of how I see them in the grand scheme of things, which I think will make your healing journey a lot easier. So what I want you to do when you start getting triggered is to write down all of those things, everything, even as minuscule as some info might sound. Write it down because I want you to go back to it later and reflect on it when you're in a better state of mind so that you can really start to dissect what are the core wounds behind this situation. Your nervous system, your triggers are your greatest asset. And if you don't learn how to read the coding and reprogram it, you will miss the most important parts of it in building the life you actually want. So, if you want to go deeper into this, I do have a nervous system guide. Check out the link in the bio. It might be in the comments too, but check one of those locations and grab you a in the next video, I'm going to show you how exactly your nervous system interprets situations and why two people can experience the same thing but have two completely different